Well, hello, everybody. I'm Russell Hill, the host of WTF, and that is what the fixed ops do. It's not the other thing that you were thinking about. But I'm also joined by
I'm Charity Dunning. I'm the co-host here at What the Fixed Ops. And today we have Shaun Raines. Shaun Raines is the founder at HiredGuns agency and dealer superhero. Shaun, tell us a little bit about who you are.
I am a man in the car business.
I love it. That's a great place to start.
Yes, in case you didn't know, but boy, probably a lot of people that tune in maybe have met me at some time. I'm not new into the industry, that's for sure. I've been in the car business, oh gosh, probably 30 years if you count all the years before the digital and internet side of things exploded. But I have I worked for big companies like Reynolds and Reynolds, ran Reach Local's paid search division, specifically in automotive, for a few years. One of the big website providers. That was kind of the last big kind of corporate job I had, and then I kind of went out on my own with Dealer Superhero, and more recently in the last 18 months or so with HiredGuns.
That's great. And I met Shaun, I don't know, a couple of years ago, my business partner, Rick Eckert, and he worked at Reynolds and Reynolds.
Mm-hmm.
And he just was going on and on and on when he made the introduction to me with Shaun. It's just a sales entrepreneur guru. And you are, you have a demeanor. You're very humble and kind. I don't know what you're thinking behind the scenes, but you have a way with people that really puts them at ease. And this has been my interpretation of you that many times that we visited. And you're obviously somebody that is always outside of your comfort zone and thinking out of the box. We've had a lot of conversations, and I hope we get to touch on a lot of it. As a matter of fact, before this even began, we were talking about Chat GPT and AI and podcasts and some of the things he's doing. And it's like Glenn Lundy, and I usually say this about every episode because it's so true. He's talking about how technology has evolved from 1923 to 2023 over the last 100 years. And he said in the next 5 years, it's going to evolve that same 100 years, if not even faster than that. So buckle up because it's coming. There's, I know there's some naysayers out there, but so what is it you're doing today? Because I know you're a national well-known speaker. You're invited to all kinds of industry events and stuff like that. But is there one thing that Shaun Raines is very what do you like doing the best, Shaun? Let me ask you that.
I like listening to, playing, or learning how to play music. That's what I like doing the best.
Okay.
But that doesn't pay the bills.
No.
So no one knows me for my songwriting or my live music skills.
Right.
However, in the context of business world, what do I love doing? I've really always loved helping people find like the next level, or how to define success and then find it. Both on the dealer side, although I don't work with dealers as much as I used to, for reasons that, we can certainly talk about if you want to, but last corporate job I had, included a non-compete. And so I had to stay away from the things that were really my bread and butter for a year. And during that time, fortunately, there was enough grace in all of that ugliness that, I was able to do some things as long as I was not directly competing. And that turned into opportunities to work with a lot of people that I knew had businesses that were selling services to dealers, some to power sports dealers, motorcycle dealers, a little bit of RV. And it gave me this talk about, you mentioned the comfort, and I'm I would love to be able to be in a comfort zone, but you'd never grow there. So whether I like it or not, or whether it's intentional, the last several years for me have been extremely uncomfortable, but extremely extremely accelerated growth in my own learning and my own skills and my own ability to understand
Absolutely.
some things that I hadn't thought about before. Because for the longest time, when you would ask me the question of what are you doing, the lens for me, most of my automotive career was related to, in some way, figuring out how to help dealers. Now, I still have very much a heart for dealers. I love to talk to dealers and try to figure out, well, what's going on, and offer some advice or tips or
Sure.
suggestions that could improve their business. Now, though, I'm also getting to do that for businesses that are trying to help connect their services, solutions, products to the needs, or to be the problem, the solution to the problem that dealers are having. So that's a long way of saying what I'm doing today.
Well, I love it. So you've been described, Shaun Raines has been described as a real life superhero. Give us your thoughts on the real life superhero, Shaun Raines.
All the flattery. This is, gosh, a lot of people in our industry, not just our industry, especially with the dawn of the internet, and then really some people I like to call the 2.0 version of internet, when social media became what it was, even before Facebook with MySpace. You just a new level of connectivity. But I've never been like I'm trying to chase the look at me, look at me, look at me. There are a lot of people in our industry, and I'm sure others, that they love that. They're addicted to attention. And I try to have enough self-discipline that I don't want to be addicted to attention. I'm thankful for it. I'm very blessed that, I have kind of by default, I think a likable personality. I try to be, to the best of my ability, I try to be a person that can find the middle, and if others can't, that I can draw them towards that. So that's where we kind of live. I'm a big fan of it, although it's a tough time to be trying to be that type of person these days. But the superhero thing, a long time ago, and this is a true story, when I first started to try to have my own little business within automotive, it was many years ago, and that business was called Dealer Advisor. And Dealer Advisor's logo was a stick figure, a stick man with a cape. So you got a stick figure guy with a cape. And that's when, and that was just me being kind of inspired by superhero stuff. And then somebody called and wanted to buy that URL. And I sold that URL for way more money than you would think should be sold for. And the same day I was like, you know what's better than Dealer Advisor? Dealer Superhero. Bought it, and there's that. So it's a little bit because I love Iron Man and Deadpool are my favorite superheroes, and I know Deadpool's he's got quite the mouth on him, but I don't know. There's something about Deadpool that just, I don't know. So that's a little bit of a glimpse into me, because
no,
Deadpool,
I get it. And
why would I like him so much?
yeah, I have never, well, I haven't up until this point. Of course, we're building this business for a particular reason. One, because we wanted to really think way outside of the box and provide a very valuable, non having to manage type of product. And it kind of hit at the right time. I met you shortly after we started our company, in I think 20, maybe the end of 21st, 21. But you have a lot to do, or maybe not as much as you did when looking at dealerships. Their performance and their ROI. What do you generally look at, and what recommendations do you make? Do you look at everything? Do you look at specific things regarding their performance and our ROI, or do you like a particular niche type of stuff? Can you share a little bit about that, Shaun?
We are passionate about helping consumers find a great, trusted place to get their car fixed. We have 4 million uniques who come to our website each month for car repair information, and we help them find our REPAIRPAL certified locations. We also have amazing partners like USAA that offer our REPAIRPAL certified network to their customers and members. So how are we going to help dealers? Well, dealers sell 100% of the cars, but over time, after the warranty expires, The repairs go up and up and the revenue potential goes up, but people keep leaving the dealer over time after the warranty. By years 10 or 12, only about 20% of people are still servicing at the dealer. Why is that? There's one dominant reason, and that is price perception. And being REPAIRPAL certified helps you overcome the primary price perception problem. So come let us show you how REPAIRPAL can help you too.
Yeah. So let me start in FixedOPS and then I'll work back a little bit.
Okay.
So like a lot of people, when I decided to leave a corporate job, the first thing I started doing was consulting.
Yeah, right.
Because I thought I knew better than everybody else, which is, I mean, I think you have to have that mindset as a consultant. Like, I got this figured out. But then I realized, well, that's not really reality. But I have always had a process. I still have it to this day of a questionnaire around a whole bunch of different parts of the dealer's business. So I can grab very quick insight into being able to see where the pieces are, what's going on. When it comes to the FixedOPS part, I'm not telling you guys and really your primary audience anything they haven't heard, but it probably needs to be reinforced because for whatever reason, it's the part of the dealership that's moved probably slower than everything else. And that being, how do we merchandise for service? How do we merchandise for parts and accessories? Everything FixedOPS related has been, a second or an afterthought for a long time. And I get it. It's kind of the, it's the sexiness, right? Like, well, selling the cars and that's, the servicing part it's just never been the big priority. However, I always like to help dealers understand this. And I've done presentations on this in the last couple of years where I just walk through as if I'm the same consumer. And I want the dealer to see exactly what the consumer sees. I want them to experience, because we talk about the experience relentlessly. Yeah. Customer experience. And most of the time when we're talking about experience, we're not really what we don't talk about is, well, what affects the experience? What defines whether we had a good experience or a bad experience? I'll tell you one thing that affects it is time, right? If you waste my time on your website, if you waste my time when I came into your business, that is not a good experience. But it's also a terrible experience, even if I'm journeying through your website and I need to find the best information on, I need a synthetic oil change and maybe a couple of other services. Not only do I need to be able to find that information, in a lot of cases, it's not there. Worse yet, there's not enough of that content for dealers that educates a consumer, that brings them to this level of comfort and trust. And I think I said this a little bit when we sat down at NADA in your booth. We fast forward really because technology keeps coming at all of us so fast that we can't keep up with it, which is not a this year problem. It's a decades old problem, really, since the internet showed up. It's been a problem. Right. But it compromises how easily we build trust. It makes building trust much more difficult. Some people think it makes it easier. It doesn't, because there are all these different layers. And if I can't go to your website because I bought a vehicle from you and I want these services done, if I can't see how important that part of your dealership, that department in your dealership is, if it's not important to you, why would it make me comfortable, confident, and have any trust that you're going to provide a good experience for me now taking my vehicle to have it serviced with you? And it's the same thing. I drive a Toyota Tundra Crew Max. I love it probably more than I should. I tell people about it all the time. I love to share pictures with it. My children are adults, so I just share pictures of my truck or the country cats that I keep alive in my garage. Not even kidding, because I have a heart. But my Tundra, the dealership did not provide anything on their website relative to all the things that I wanted to do to my Tundra. So they lost a ton of business that they could have done there in service work, accessories, because they didn't have any of that available. So I would say when I'm talking to a dealer to try to help them around FixedOPS, I start with, let's just be a customer and let's take that experience and that journey together. And you tell me if that's great enough. And most of the times dealers, not in a combative way, but they have to be challenged to get as far away from their business as they possibly can, so they get to see it through different eyes, right? They have to see it through the consumer's eyes and their experience, oftentimes before they realize we probably should make a change.
What I don't understand, 99% of the people are going to go to the website first, which is where all 4 of the dealerships profit centers are located. Of course, the experience you're talking about is horrible. And yet we're all shoppers. We're all online. Even the people you and I are, Cherry, all the people we're talking to, they're online all the time and they're looking for stuff. You and I both know, all of us know that after 3 clicks, they start to get frustrated. Anxiety starts to set in. They can't find what they're looking for, and they're on a mission. They don't have a lot of time. They want it, the right content and the right message, right? So well, everybody knows this is important. And it's like they do it on, they notice it on other websites, but I find a lot of them don't even really know what's on their website. They haven't done the customer journey. So if you can sit them down long enough and you start there, I think you probably do a great job at capturing their attention, because it is brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
It is. Yeah. When I started the Dealer Superhero business, one of the things that I first started offering to dealer clients was something that I called digital SWOT, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And it was a service that I would sell if you don't want to retain ongoing consulting services. And there are a handful of guys and gals out there that are really talented in this area. So
yes,
it's not as if you can't find people like that. But what I would do is like, well, let me help you see everything that you need to see, right? With my assistance and just helping you see the truth of it. So where are you strong and where are you weak and where do your greatest opportunities reside and what's threatening your business?
Yeah.
And we would do that across what you're doing on your website from a new and used sales perspective. We look at your service department. We look at what you talk about with parts and accessories. We look at your social media presence, like just all of it. Where are you spending? Are you doing display advertising? Are you doing paid search on Google? Do you have SEO dollars invested? Like just go through all of that and then kind of grade them on kind of here's where you're at with then recommendations prioritized on if I were your dealership or if I were making all these decisions, this is how I would, in what order I would make them in. That is a really, I think that's not rocket science. Anybody can do it. I get that it's good if you have somebody that has experience that kind of knows the landscape of all of that. But I would recommend that to every single dealer. And if it seems like too much to, like that's an elephant, I can't eat that whole thing, even if it's one bite at a time. Well, then the first bite is take the department that needs the most fortification. So maybe it's FixedOPS, start in FixedOPS and get that right.
Yeah, I agree. When I go to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, even the places that dealers have a presence, there's new vehicle stuff, there's incentives, there's happy customers buying vehicles, and it's just one thing one of those after another. Occasionally, and it is rare, do you see anything regarding service, parts, or accessories? And when you do, it goes to a blank page, or it goes to the home page where you have to continue to click and they get frustrated, or you serve up something that has no call to action or no real information. Or here's the better one. It sends you to a service scheduling page. Are you kidding me? These are high funnel, mid funnel shoppers that are looking for information. You send them right to a booking page. That's broken. That's broken. Why? If with a lot of dealerships, it is the main, if not the second main profit center for the franchise dealer. Why is it that they got all the crap on new and used vehicles and they have nothing on the fixed side? And you have to really do some of them. You have to, Shaun, I still see coupons with a pair of scissors cutting out a dotted line.
Yeah. I wish I could wave a magic wand and fix a lot of that. Unfortunately, it's a tough industry. And as much as I, really my favorite part of retail car business really is the dealers. They're oftentimes the ones that give me the most challenge of like, they don't think I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I've had that for my whole career. Like, have you ever sold a car in your life? I used to get that. And then I was like, I'm going to go and sell cars nights and weekends so I can tell these guys, yeah, actually I have. And I think maybe I've told you this, Russell, but I was a certified, I am still, I didn't lose it, was a certified service writer in the state of Washington. I think they at the time called themselves the Puget Sound Dealer Association. But I went through Shoreline, Washington Shoreline Community College has a very outstanding OEM sponsored technician and service writing program. And so with that experience, I still wish I had like a magic wand I could wave. But when you're talking about what people are doing, what dealers are doing on social media, there's still a lot of them that don't really do anything.
Yep.
Right. Which is sad. And I get it. Facebook, most of social media, but Facebook that's a tough environment to be in. You know, most people complain of, I have so much advertising or suggested content because they think they know enough about us. And a lot of people don't think, well, if you want some of that to change, you're going to have to interact with, I don't want this, hide this. No, I'm not interested. It forces you to realize that even Facebook with your personal profile, it's not a light switch that you turn on and then it's just perfect. Most of the stuff that we want to see, we don't see. No. So how does a dealer think that way? Like, okay, well, how am I going to get in there and how much should I spend? And you have to be smart on that. And sometimes we need to actually be really deliberate at what we're trying to accomplish in terms of getting our content in front of the right people. And you might have to be more provocative or in some way on social media because it gets someone's attention in a way that you never would be if you were just running a simple Google search ad or something that you would run in display. And that's what I oftentimes will tell dealers is the style in which you go to social media with may need to be slightly different. To cut through the noise, because
branding awareness, right? Different. Try something different. I don't know if you've heard this, and I haven't said it in a while, but when I'm talking to a specific dealer, because of so much that stuff that I've seen or read or done, websites are like a dog. I remember a time when Rick and I had R&D Interactive, and we did websites, and then the manufacturer started mandating you had to go through this process, and it was like. It was a money loser, a high maintenance and no money. But look, websites are like a dog. They said, what do you mean like a dog? Well, it used to be they were changing websites all the time. That hurts them. Okay. There is no one website vendor that does everything that you want. And I think dealers back then, 15 years ago, probably they're slowing down on switching website companies. There's new, great, innovative stuff coming up, but they said, what do you mean like a dog? Well, it's like you get a dog and you think that's it. No, you got to play with it. You got to groom it. You got to water. You got to feed it. You got to let it out to do its business. You got to give it shots. You got to, all this stuff you have to do. Well, your website's the same way. You think you just have a website and that's it. No, it needs to be maintained. People need to look at it. People need to interact with it. You need to look at it and they're looking at their competition and they're not even looking at their own websites. Do you think, here's what I think. Your opinion, 80 to 85% of all general managers, like I was, grew up on the variable side. I knew enough about fixed, but surrounded myself with people who I thought did. And my money was spent on the variable side, new and used. Do you think that's still the same today?
Mm-hmm.
You do?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah.
I as far as separating the affinity, the preference for all things, let's sell cars, new and used, sell versus, hey, let's radically rethink what we do with our service business and our parts and accessories business. Has it changed a little bit? That's changed a little bit, but and I don't know if that's exactly what you were asking, but I think on the sales side, there's still much. And if that's what you're asking, I think that's because we addicted dealers to leads without addicting them to a process to properly handle those leads. And they still struggle with that today.
True. I was on Modern Day Car Sales this morning. It came out of my mouth. They were talking about road to the sale, right? And I said, listen, when I got out of retail, I kept all my stuff from, late 80s, early 90s, etc. And my son is in the car business and this topic came up and he's been at the same dealership for 7 years. So he doesn't even have to take ups anymore. He's repeat and referral. So he's done that part. And he used to listen to me up front, but I had a training manual from Ford from the 50s. It's the same today as it was back then. There's a road to the sale. There's a process that works and is proven even over decades or half a century. And that is, if you deviate from the process of the road to sale, it costs you gross, repeat, referral, CSI, and SSI every single time. And it's still the same today it was back then. Do you think that a lot of people still have that mentality today? Or better yet, Charity, bowed out just for a second. Let me ask you this. You say, Shaun, that you need marketing firepower to get the right audience in automotive. And what kind of firepower usually works for you when you're talking to dealers?
The best firepower is that comes from the subject matter expert, from whatever that either company is, right? So if you think of, and there's a couple of different types of marketing, people are probably heard these terms before. When you're going direct to the consumer, you're marketing to the end user, all of us. So a car dealer, all of their marketing and advertising efforts are to get us to respond and see their stuff. So the best firepower for them is the content relative to what they sell. And they do that well, but they have a lot of support in 3 different tiers, right? So if you're selling Toyotas, you have tier 1 support, you have regional support, North Texas Toyota dealers. So you've got a tier 2 level, and then you've got a tier 3, which still gives a dealer quite a bit when they in fact are franchise. It still gives them quite a bit of leverage in what they can and cannot do on their own at tier 3. So then what's the best firepower? The best firepower is, one, you can't actually launch your best shots if you don't know exactly who your customer is. And a lot of people will fast forward over like, well, the persona development, is that what you're talking about? Yes, kind of. If you have, and a lot of dealers are in this case where they actually sell multiple brands, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You have a Toyota store, but you also have a Kia store. You also have a Ford store. You also, maybe you even have a Chrysler Jeep Dodge store. If you have multiple brands like that, one of the things that I always tell dealers, and I've said this for years, you have to make sure that you're not trying to speak Ford to a Toyota buyer. Are there similarities? Sure, there are similarities.
Sure. Yeah.
But if you think about the differences, a better example is, and this has come up a lot with me and certain dealers over the years.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to take a moment to say a few words about our new sponsor, WYNN'S. People who love cars love WYNN'S. With over 80 years of experience in innovation, WYNN'S leads the industry with product and system innovations that drive vehicle performance and longevity. WYNN'S leads through our innovation, our technology, and the products we create. We bring a legacy of superior performance that professional service providers trust through our heritage of innovative formulas and unparalleled service. It starts with fuel and oil, and it ends with excellence. Our dedication to research and development has led to more than 18,000 granted and pending patents across our company. And that drive continues today at WYNN'S. New vehicle technology like EV requires leading edge service and products. WYNN'S ensures our products meet EV requirements and still provide the same high level of protection that we've always offered. We meet tomorrow's needs by using our knowledge and technology today. WYNN'S brings innovative, technically advanced, professional grade solutions to the world. Our legacy of innovation and performance is always copied, but never outrun. So thank you, WYNN'S, for sponsoring the What the FixedOPS podcast.
I used to work with Subaru dealers a lot. And I would always tell those Subaru dealers that if they're part of a group that has other brands, to go in and specifically look at how are your automated follow-up templates set up for people that were trying to figure out, well, what's our process within our CRM? Because in most cases, you have Subaru people who are saying, hey, I'm interested in this vehicle. And what they're getting back is co-branded. So it's not just the Subaru dealer. It's got Chevy and whatever else in it. And the way it's written, as if I was interested in buying a Silverado, right? Yeah. Or a Camaro. And
commonplace.
Yeah. Subaru buyers don't want to be talked to like they were, going to buy a Silverado. Not that there's anything wrong with buying a Silverado. It's
Nope.
just there are little intricacies like that in how we communicate that become very, very important. You can't leave any of those stones unturned.
No, it's amazing. I'm going to let Charity, but the other day I got a chance to use this. I was talking to a large automotive group, and they had a particular product in the store, and they want FixedOPS marketing. But we were, after it was all said and done, went through all the presentations, they settled, this is what we're going to do. These are the options, et cetera, pricing information, et cetera. Then they had to come back one more time on the pricing and said, hey, and I got to know them quite a bit. So it fit in really. It said, well, you're $100 to $150 higher than your supposed competition. And I said, okay, well, let me ask you this, since we're all car people. Why do people want a Lexus when a Toyota is good enough? Pretty damn simple. They want a Lexus because of the prestige and the status and what it stands for, and the luxury and the picture that was painted, except the Toyota's fine. Ain't nothing wrong with Toyota Avalon. Ain't nothing wrong with Toyota Camry. It's a freaking amazing vehicle, but it's not a Lexus. And it's like, yeah, you know what? I just lost my freaking train of thought. So I'm going to let Charity ask the question. I was going somewhere with this, but I didn't land the plane. Go ahead, Charity.
Well, Shaun, do you help dealers with paid advertising on social media? And if they are using sort of bland copy and paste content, what do you usually recommend that they do to outshine their competition?
Yeah. So, just all honesty on the table. Right now, I'm not working with any dealers on that, but do I talk to a lot of dealers and still have opinions on what I would be doing? Sure. With the exception of one right now, all of my clients are businesses that are, that offer services to dealers. But when Dealer Superhero was much more a part of my day-to-day, the answer to that question is a little bit of what I touched on previously. Is you might actually have to experiment in ways that make you uncomfortable in terms of more provocative or pop culture related type of things that get people's, and why do I say that? Because you're trying to get my attention when I'm in an environment that is so toxic with, politics, contemporary world problems, like all the things that get pushed into social media. It's it requires our effort when we go to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. All of the most popular platforms require quite a bit of effort to actually find things that are not immediately pushing people into whichever corner they feel most comfortable in, and becomes really divisive. And I try to tell dealers that because they relate to, oh yeah, I go onto Facebook and within 5 minutes, I'm kind of angry, right? You get upset, you're agitated, there's no reason there. It's not that difficult to understand why the rates of anxiety and depression and all this have skyrocketed in the past 10 years. Because social media, and not to make this what we're not talking about, but just look at what that's done to the youth of the world. But first and foremost, here in the United States of America, it's a travesty, because all of us adults should be like, wait a minute, we're putting them on the wrong path. Contextualizing for you dealers that are like, we'll just answer the question. That's the environment that you're trying to cut through that noise and get their parents' attention. Or maybe they're old enough, they're a 20-something-year-old and they're going to buy their first car. You're in an environment where, whether you're a teenager or you're 85 years old, if you're in social media, let's just keep it Facebook, you are dealing with the same things that all of us deal with. Tough environment to have a message cut through. So what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to do something that would never look like the ad that you used to run in the newspaper 20 years ago. Something that would never look like probably the display ads that, if you're doing it, are being plastered all over display networks where you're hoping for more impressions, but you definitely aren't getting leads off of those, which is an okay strategy if you need presence and awareness. But when you're trying to get people to engage and respond, call you, fill out a forum, chat with you, send you a Facebook message, you're going to have to try things that you've probably never done before. And that's okay. But more importantly, you're going to have somebody that can help you brainstorm a few concepts and ideas, and then put a specific parameter around, hey, how long are we going to run the free box of Twinkies campaign? The what? Get your service done with, and we're giving everyone who services with us in the next 30 days a box of Twinkies. That sounds stupid. Yeah, it does. But guess what? Somebody out there is going to get their attention.
It gets you noticed.
Because it's different, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and these are plays from the old book, right? It's like, hey, you're in Texas. Hey, you want to go see the Rangers? We'll give you a couple of Rangers tickets if you come in and do service with us before the end of April. Like anything like that could be a new thing, but those are two silly examples.
But it grabs their
hundreds.
attention. Yeah.
Yeah, of hundreds. So that's what I would do, Charity, is I would really be challenging, and I would put in the time to have the meetings about it and plan, well, what are we going to do and how long are we going to do it? And then we look at it, the bottom of that bucket after we've ran it. Did we want to run that for 30 days? Great. What did we get? Okay, now let's compare and contrast. And if you have the right vendors to be able to do all of these things at the same time, meaning you're split testing the environment, right? If you're doing A/B tests, and let's just say, you're running a campaign that pushes people to a landing page, and you're using somebody like Unbounce to build your landing pages. And so you have 4 different variations of that landing page that are slightly different. So you can figure out which one of them converts the traffic better. There's a couple of points of that journey that you're wanting to get really strong data from. Hey, well, we got them out of Facebook, and from Facebook, we took them here to get this done. And that's actually happening at a pretty decent rate. Where are they now converting to now be an opportunity for us best? And then you make tweaks of that. That's what I would tell dealers. You're going to have to get outside of your comfort zone and do things that you probably never done before, but you have to keep track of it so that you can't blame it on your vendor of like, well, you guys suck or whatever. It's like, no, it's like you said some things a few minutes ago, Russell, about, just the kind of set it and forget it type of stuff. And these things are tools. They're dynamic. Yep. So that's the other thing that I would tell the dealers. Not only are you going to have to get out of your comfort zone, you have to treat Facebook like a lawnmower, right? You can't just buy the lawnmower and put it in your garage. Don't put any gas or oil in it and expect that it's going to go and cut your grass just because you have a lawnmower. It's a
damn lawnmower. I got a lawnmower. Why is it not working?
It's a tool.
Yeah.
Facebook and every other social media property, if you're a business, is a tool, just like your website's a tool. So I'd say get uncomfortable and then put parameters on things and then try them. And then you'll know what works and what doesn't work. In fact, you might find out Facebook's not worth it for us. We can't do anything, but you got to try first. You got to exhaust all the options to find out. And if you're leaving that to somebody that says that they have it all figured out and they're the experts in it, hopefully they did what they should do to earn your trust to do that.
Well, I certainly hope so. When I talk to, so when people ask me about my sales or marketing or salesmanship abilities, whether it be, working my way up to running stores or whatever it is. And even today, if somebody asked me, Russell, where do you think you're at on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as relationship building and closing deals? And I'd say probably a 4. People that say they're a 10, they have nothing else to learn. They're not thinking out of the box. They're in their comfort zone. They're not experts. If they say they are, they're not. You and I both know they're not. We can tell them the first few, not everybody can, but we can tell them the first few minutes. So even that Facebook, that made me think, because I'm on social media all the time, seeing how our stuff's doing and reposting it and stuff that Charity comes, which she's freaking dynamite at. And I'll see something that's really stupid and off the wall. And I'll spend 5 minutes on it. And I said, this is crazy. I'll look a little deeper, right? Just click here and click there. I get what you're saying. That's whoever did it, like the Twinkie thing you're talking about. It seems like really a lame thing, but it causes you to pause.
Yes.
Yeah. Great question. Great question.
Can't be boring, right?
Yeah. So
those stories are ones that I have told for a long time, many of which come from real life examples of trying to figure out how to get dealers to try different things as the internet age has been upon us for a long time. And it started with when dealers were like, hey, how am I going to get somebody that lives just outside of the market area, but that's interested? How am I going to pull them down?
Offer them a box of Twinkies. Come on.
Make the hour drive. Right. Yeah. I'll be like, well, then you're going to offer them the weekend getaway, right? If you've got a significant other, come on down to the big city. You're going to get the best deal here. We're going to make sure you're comfortable with that. But instead of having to drive all the way back up, stay in town. We'll put you up in a very nice hotel. Dinner's on us, right? All of which can be written into how they're operating the business. All of those things can be written in. The things that can be done if you really want to do them. I sound like a broken record, and everyone's heard these examples, but there's a reason why people said what they say about Nordstrom customer experience, right? Right. There's a reason why people have said, like, what's the experience like when you go to Disneyland versus going to really any other theme park? It's like, it's clean, people are friendly. If you really want customer service and the way you treat people to be the crown jewel of, how you operate, Carl Sewell did it. The Sewell organization here in the Dallas area has quite the reputation for the way that they provide service. Have they had some deals that are not perfect? Sure, everyone does. But point is if you really want that to be the defining mark of your business,
there's no question. Their name is synonymous with service, and I've experienced buying something with Sewell, and it is a one unit. It is not that service, that's sales, that's F&I. No. They don't batter. They're all together. They're all aligned. Carl Sewell is an amazing process, and I'm just amazing guy, amazing talent, great stuff. Yeah. And so let me ask you, you're married, you got kids or no?
I do. I have a 24-year-old son who is married and a 22-year-old daughter who is not married, but they're both on their own. And wife and I have been married for, I think, 14 million years now.
Oh,
long time. Yeah.
Any grandkids?
Nope. We have no grandkids. We have and will not put any pressure on our kids. It's, that's a big decision. It always has been a big decision.
It is.
I remember kind of thinking through that. My wife and I kind of had a deal. Every year on our anniversary, we'd have that talk. Are you ready? I don't know. Are you ready? And I think we were 7 years in, and we finally both said, I'm ready. You're ready. And not everybody starts their family that way. Some people are like, were you ready? Well, I wasn't ready, but let's get married and let's figure it out. And that's fine too. I'm all for all of it. But no grandkids yet, and none on the way.
Yeah, we didn't move our kids to, come on, we want grandkids, nothing like that. As a matter of fact, the longer it took, the better, but we got 4 of them now, and it is a wonderful, wonderful experience. I just want to throw that up. What's your wife's name?
Crystal.
And your son and daughter?
My son is William. We call him Will. My daughter is Samantha. We call her Sammy.
Y'all stay in touch?
I think she's maybe wanting to grow more into Samantha now that she's, not a kid anymore, but I don't know. Everybody still calls her Sammy. So they're both amazing.
That's great. Do they live close, or they live in different parts of the country?
They're here in Texas. Yep.
Good.
They were both born in Washington State, which is where my wife and I were both born in Washington, both grew up in small towns in Washington. So I know a lot of people think of the Pacific Northwest and they either think beautiful, Mount Rainier, trees, ocean, all that, which is all true. We lived in the Western Washington side, me in a very small town logging community where the real big trees grow. And that's what my dad did for a living. He was a tree faller or a logger. And so I was a kid who grew up in the timber industry for sure. Spent a lot of weekends in the woods and
look at you.
Small town. I'm from a small town.
Charity's got in a small town. What's the name of that town?
I'm in Scappoose and I'm in Oregon. So Pacific Northwest, it is beautiful. It is beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I was born and raised in Aberdeen, Washington, which if you're a big Nirvana fan, you know that's where Kurt Cobain and Nirvana kind of came out of Aberdeen.
Yeah. It's a very unique place.
Yeah,
for sure.
It is. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your side project that you have going on, the social network aggregator app. Is that right?
Yeah. So that's Alliance. You can see that kind of right back there on the wall. That was a gift from the wife. So we spent last year and the fall kind of building and then testing and getting it ready. And because I'm so busy with so many other things, it's one of those like I got to keep spending time as that grows. And so we are I think right now a little over 100 people that are now in the network. We started inviting people last fall, just saying, hey, you can go in. We're in the App Store. It's called Alliance. So for anybody that's like, what are you guys talking about? It's free. It doesn't cost any money. You would have to go into whether you're in the Android or the Google, whatever they call their store, or Apple. We're in both. If you search the keywords Alliance Automotive, you'll see that little icon. And then there are a series of questions. So the idea behind that, and the reason why there are questions, is because we're only letting automotive industry people or adjacent industries. So if you were RV or power sports, we'd let you be in as well. There's a problem in our industry where we think, and there's a lot of people that make really, really great content, but most of them end up in echo chambers, or they're dispersed so far and wide through mostly through LinkedIn that do they reach an audience? They do, but oftentimes people are a little bit delusional, thinking that the actual most important part of the audience is actually seeing it. It's a lot of automotive professionals like myself, you guys, that consume a lot of content in LinkedIn. And there's a lot of content, not to give preference to anybody or not. I'll just say we know a lot of people that push content. You guys push content. I push content. When we do that in LinkedIn, a lot of the people that are seeing it are not necessarily dealers, some. And so I thought, well, why is it? Well, we've never made it really easy for there to be one community that's dealer first focused, and then everybody else that aggregates the best content that can be found and that's being created in one place. So you could go to a dealer and say, you probably want to be able to keep up on all this information, but automotive news is hitting your desk once a week. And so you're thumbing through that big giant thing that's still out there, which I get it too. You're also trying to find out, well, hey, I love what Charity and Russell are putting out through, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, FixedOPS. So I want to read what Brian Pash is saying, like, cause he's staying on top of GA4 and, whatever, or CDPs, he's talking a lot about, customer data platforms, whatever it may be. There's so much content that's being put out. The Asodu guys, Glenn, Mike Cirillo, like there's just so many of them that have content that needs to be in one place so that everybody can find it, and that dealers don't have to spend hours combing through, LinkedIn to figure it all out. And I've had a few people say, like, it doesn't really take that long. I said, well, then why are more dealers not actually engaging that content? Why are more dealers not, right? It's the ones that are the ones that have been doing it already for years. They're the same ones that were already coming to the defense of their favorite talking head in the industry 10 years ago. Those are the same people that are consuming that content today. We're not bringing so many more people into the fold. And so Alliance was my thought of, we need to make an app, right? We need to take the idea of having a community that is for all. So I hate being forced to choose, like, pick sides. So I never like being put in the middle of driving sales or digital dealer. Well, sorry, both for me. I know them both. I love them both. They both have done so many things by having me speak at their events that I'm thankful for. I appreciate that. That brings, that brings good fortune to me. That's it's a wonderful thing. But I also don't like having to be like, well, what about, the communities? What about, Jim Ziegler has a community, and Jeff Kirshner has Dealer Refresh, and then Driving Sales has always had a community, and Dealer Elite and all these. I'm like, that's great. I want all of those to even say that Alliance is a place where everybody can put all their stuff, because we want to make it easy for the dealer. I don't want the dealer to have to think, or the dealer to have to, because I'm going on and on about this, but we have all these biases, and most of the time we try to hide them. But the truth is there are people that think, well, I'm going to get better information if I go into the forums of Dealer Refresh than I would get XYZ elsewhere. Is that true? Probably not. Probably not. It's just a preference. And maybe you have some personal feelings about one person or another, and that's clouding whether or not you go to one source or another to get really good content. It doesn't mean that the content that is there or being placed there isn't content that you should be consuming or you should know about. So I don't want to have to pick and choose, like, who do I like and I like everybody. You have to give me a really good reason to be on the list of, I don't like you. And there are some, but they will never know it.
No, they got to go out of their way, don't they?
Yeah. And so I want Alliance to be the place where a dealer can sign up on their phone. Yes, there's a web version, so you can go to dshalliance.com and start the journey there. But I want to know if you're in the auto industry, and then I want to be able to provide an environment that is full of groups. So if you don't want to look at the whole feed, so a person that gets accepted into Alliance right now, they open Alliance on their phone, there's a feed of content in there, summarized articles that we curate from whether it's automotive news or content that we know people are creating on
Sure.
And putting into LinkedIn. We'll go grab it. We've grabbed some of your content, put it into Alliance, because we want to make that one place easy for
Sure.
folks to get there. That's going to take some time. So we're not, we're not in a race. But over time, we think that more and more people will warm up to it. And what we want is businesses even like yours to tell dealers, hey, there's this new thing coming out, and it's out there now, and it's built for you. It's a place where we will be putting our content, but we want you to go there because they're curating really good stuff. And it's not just the feed of content. You can go in there and join a group on, I just want to see FixedOPS content. That's all I want. Or I could join the groups like, I want to get into CRM, or I want to get into SEO, or I want to be the group that's just talking about events in the industry. I even have a group for all the people that like to cause prairie fires on issues that have nothing to do about the auto industry. They just like to fight about politics and all that other stuff. So there's a group called Notomotive, and it's for everything that's not automotive, but you still want to be in my platform to cry about it. So
you have to be vetted though too. You
do. We just ask a few questions. Yeah, we just ask a few questions like, do you work in the car business? Do you work at a dealership? Yeah, a handful. Because I can tell you this, little behind the scenes, we get people every single week. We have fake people and or bots that are trying to join the Alliance network, going into the App Store. Whoever is doing it, how automated it is, don't know. But we have to go and vet people. And we probably reject 5 to every one that's legit right now.
Wow. So do you have to be vetted as a user or as a content distributor?
You just as a user, right? So what we want to be able to verify is that you're in or were or you're working relative to the car business. It's not an environment for people who, oh, well, I'm just going to interested in cars. Yeah, no, thank you.
No.
So first and foremost, our perfect ideal user is somebody who works at a car dealership. Dealer principal, sure. General manager, sure. General sales manager, sure. Sales guy, sales gal, BDC rep, all of it. Yes.
Yep.
We want all of those people in, and we want to get feedback from those people. I wish there was an easier way for me to get, feedback from them of what's going to be the best environment that you'll find useful. So if you open this thing up, whether you're just scrolling through on your phone or you're at your desk on your computer, that's like, this is why I go to this environment. Right now, I'm guessing, and I'm trying to put that stuff together that I think isn't going to waste their time. But that's the ideal target center of the bullseye. And then from outside of that, it's service providers, vendors like us. Of course, I want them in. Individually, everybody can join for free. The idea is that we build this in a way that the consumer, the primary consumer, is dealer personnel, and that over time, the businesses will see this as, oh, this is a great place to cut through the noise.
Absolutely.
And allow us to have a bit more of a pure communication pathway versus the, and it's not that I don't like LinkedIn. It's just that it's a rented environment that is not exclusive to automotive.
Nope.
It's not. It's
everything.
It's everything.
Yeah.
There's so much content on LinkedIn too, even just in automotive.
Yep.
Right.
I feel like we're constantly trying to get in front of eyeballs of people in automotive, but there's just everybody.
Yeah. So what I'm not good at, we're already in Alliance, Charity. He introduced us months and months and months ago, and I signed up. I've been in there somewhat, not as much as I should be, but I see it building. I see new stuff. And I think it's gonna hit exactly the audience and what you're trying to achieve. Unfortunately, I hate to do, we didn't even get through half the questions.
Not even half.
Not even half the questions, and we're out of time. So let me ask you this.
Yes.
You have, before we exit, and thank you for everything that you shared. You let's take a minute and say talk whatever about, tell them how to get a hold of you. Tell them whatever you want to tell them. What do you want people to hear, and how can they engage with Shaun Raines?
Pretty easy to engage with me. I would say probably these days the best, if you have my personal phone number, well then just text me, or call me. If you don't have that, and you think that I could be of assistance, or there's something that I might be able to help you with, I love nothing better. That's at the start of this. That's one of the things you asked me, is I love being helpful. I would say email Shaun at HiredGunsAgency.com. So you can get me at Shaun, SHAUN, at HiredGunsAgency.com. You can also get me at Shaun, SHAUN, at Dealer Superhero, somewhere over there.
There you
Shaun
go.
at dealersuperhero.com. Either of those two email addresses, probably the best way to get in touch. And as far as, just, I guess what I would say in parting is, one, thank you guys for having me on the show. Thank you for, finding that maybe I can bring some value to your audience. And as far as what I might be able to do, or what I want people to know I'm doing, it's kind of the same thing. HiredGuns is a business that's primarily focused on B2B marketing. And the way that I help businesses find that firepower is directly out of their subject matter experts. We basically set up podcasts. We do this. I've got an outsourced BDC client that, we're dominating for them. It's amazing. I love talking with them because they're starting to see something that's happening when they're a very niched business over time. I love helping that. So if you're a business who's like, man, we need better inbound marketing content. And where do we find that? Agencies struggle because they don't have the subject matter expertise. So they use old marketing templates or plans for niched businesses, and then they wonder, well, why didn't this work? It's because we've been doing it the way we were doing it.
They need a hired gun. That's what they need.
They do. Yeah,
they need a gunslinger.
But for us, we're also we're a white glove boutique style. So we bring people on very carefully. We're literally negotiating kind of final details on 2 new clients right now that we have to be really careful with, because we are never going to sacrifice the quality on the customers that have come before them. Everybody gets folded in. I'm not trying to build something that I'm trying to sell. I'm trying to build something that I can do it until I drop dead, or my kids can run it, or the other people on the team can run it if they want.
I love it.
That's where I'm at. But I want to help people that are trying to build businesses that they perhaps want to sell. So that, if I can help you in that way, some way, shape, or form, if the 30+ years that I've been in automotive, and especially a lot of the stuff I've done around dealers, I can just answer a question that's helpful, sure, reach out to me. I think everyone should have a circle of trust, of people that have never broken that trust with you. I love to help dealers in that regard. And then with Alliance, that's free for every single individual that wants to help build this environment. And we're still in the infancy of that. But I believe that over the course of this year, and as we even get into 2024, that's going to even more so take shape.
I think so too.
And do so with the assistance of us, of the people of automotive.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I've had many, many, many different conversations with you. We didn't get a chance just because of the talking points and stuff. But I got to tell you, there's much more to Shaun Raines than what you heard today. And I hope you heard a lot. I know you heard a lot of great stuff on here, but he is a hired gun. But he has tremendous character and integrity, and he ascribes to the same philosophy I have, and that's, or we have, and that's Zig Ziglar. You help enough other people get what they want, you're going to get what you want. And it's done in a very professional way. And thank you very much for coming on today. This has been another hugely successful episode of WTF, and that's What the Fixed Ops to all of you, even though we talk about a lot of different things, which is what we love doing. But when this comes out, if you didn't write that stuff down, we'll have it in the marketing pieces that subsequently get released. But like him, love him, share him, reach out to him. promote him. He's a phenomenal talent, and literally any question regarding variable, all the front end to back end, Shaun has some experience. You want to talk about AI and Chat GPT, which we were doing at the beginning, do that. Other than that, thank you very much, all of you, for participating today. We really appreciate it. Thanks again, Shaun. Charity, thank you.
Thank you, Shaun.
Yeah.
Thank you both.
When you came to our booth at NATA and did an interview there, I ended up calling you a gunslinger, and maybe other people have too, but I was going to ask you what your opinion was of a modern day gunslinger.
I love it. I mean, I'm flattered by that. Not just because I am a big Second Amendment guy. I know that's a polarizing topic with a lot of people, but I also am very comfortable trying to be that middle conversation of saying the state of Texas knows so much about me because I've decided to be very responsible with that freedom. So they know that I'm not a felon. They know so much about me so that I can be truly a licensed, a person that can carry a firearm. So when people say like gunslinger, I'm a big fan of Westerns, right? And so I love Doc Holliday is probably my favorite. It's literally my favorite Val Kilmer performance of everything he ever did was his portrayal of Doc Holliday in Tombstone. But phenomenal. I also love Wyatt Earp, Billy the Kid, Jesse James. So I'm a big fan of that. There's a lot of inspiration in that. But I also love, people like Chris Kyle and, people that are, deadliest Navy sniper ever. And some people are really uncomfortable with that. But
those are all great. That was a great movie.
I love that. So to me, being a gunslinger is, it's a compliment. And I'll tell you, the first time he was an Army guy who was in the car business. First time I ever spoke at Digital Dealer was at Digital Dealer 2. And after I was done, there was a dealer that was waiting that came up and talked to me. And he said, your new nickname is hand grenades and hugs. And I'm like, what? He's like, you're deadly and lovable. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you are so unafraid to just throw grenades out into this audience and then follow it up with a hug. And he's like, he gave me an example because one of the things that I said in that presentation was, I said, why do we keep doing it this way? And the screen goes black and then just certain words start coming up, like knock their you-know-what in the dirt, take their head off, lay down, all of these derogatory things that we've said in retail for all these years. And I said, if you can sleep well at night, like you can lay your head on your pillow and sleep like a baby, when you refer to people who are mothers and grandmothers and daughters and sons, they're fellow humans, that you can refer to them like that, something's wrong with you. And we shouldn't be continuing to have an industry that talks about our customers that way, even if there's a little bit of joking. I get it. There's a little bit of that banter that's just part of life. But our industry, unfortunately, is stained with how we've made that part of the culture. Like that's a badge of honor, and it should not be.
No, it should not be.
That I've never heard anybody take on dealers to their face about that. But he said, you framed it when you said, how would you feel if somebody was talking to your mom in a way that said they're gonna take her head off? And that's meaning they're going to so take advantage of her, or your daughter or your granddaughter, whomever, somebody you love.
Yep.
That's not good. So that compliment, when I received it, kind of landed with me the same way as you're like a gunslinger, because I've never been afraid to let's get them out, especially if I'm defending a dealer or trying to help the dealer or even get the dealer's attention. Never been afraid of that. So I love that.